Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beilein to Victory podcast. This is episode 17, and we're going to get right into it. So today we're going to talk a lot about National Signing Day and my takeaways from that, and then we'll just go over the basic outline of the basketball game on Sunday against Wisconsin. All right, so according to 247 Sports, Michigan finished with the 21st best recruiting class in the country. This compared to Ohio State, who finished at number 2. This is just compared to our rivals. And Michigan State, who finished at number 32. I know Coach Harbaugh, has had good recruiting classes in his first couple of years. But after you go 8-5, especially with some of those recruits, this is what happens. You get number 21. The only reason they're that high is because they have a big brand. This year has to be a make or break year for Harbaugh. They absolutely have to get 10 wins this year. They have to be competing for a Big Ten championship, have to be at least in the conversation. Because when Ohio State is number 2, and we're number 21, we cannot be expecting to win a Big Ten title. So that can't happen. Michigan State's down at number 32, but the difference there is Mark D'Antonio knows how to coach talent. You find a 3-star, and that's like most other schools getting a 4-star. So that shouldn't be too concerning for Spartan fans, but this big difference between Ohio State and Michigan is very concerning, and I think this is definitely a make or break year for Coach Harbaugh. Absolutely has to be. Because you can't keep finishing with the 21st best recruits at the University of Michigan. That can't happen. Okay, so I'm just going to read off the class here. The 4 stars include linebacker Cam McGrone, corner Miles Sims, quarterback Joe Milton, D-end Aiden Hutchinson, tight end Mustafa Mohammed, and 2 offensive tackles Jalen Mayfield and Ryan Hayes, and all the 3 stars Ben Van Sumeren, corner Vincent Gray, defensive end Taylor Upshaw, corner German Green, running back Hassan Haskins, corner Sammy Foston, running back Christian Turner, and there's Michael Barrett, receiver Ronnie Bell, tight end Luke Schoonmaker, and defensive end Julius Welskoff. So, the names that really jump out at me here, I think Joe Milton is a big-time player. I think he's going to be the next Gardner, the next Robinson. It's going to be the dual-threat quarterback that leads us to wins. I think he's the quarterback, definitely the quarterback of the future. There's no doubt. And I think this year and maybe next year will be his learning year under Patterson. He might be taking the thrones at some point. Hopefully Patterson can play this year. Also, I like German Green, safety corner out of Texas. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Watch out for his name. That's going to be big time. He's going to be a big-time player. Remember that this class included Otis Reese, who was a 4-star and our only top 100 recruit. And he flipped to Georgia on National Signing Day. This is unacceptable. This guy's our best recruit. And this dropped us in the recruiting rankings quite a bit. How does that happen? How do you allow that to happen? That's absurd. That cannot happen. Michigan also had quite a few players go to the Ohio State game at the Big House this year. Big game. People, might like the atmosphere, and it backfired on them. Everybody that they brought to the Ohio State game did not go to Michigan. This included top 10 recruits. They did not go to Michigan. They went elsewhere. Some of them went to Ohio State. Some of them went elsewhere. How does that happen? How does that happen? How do you allow it to happen as a recruiter? How do you allow it to happen? How do you allow these guys, these great players, to slip right through your hands? The only bright side that the only thing you can really take away going into the season is the young team this is gonna be. They were sophomores last year that had great seasons that are now juniors, and they're freshmen last year that had great seniors that are now sophomores. This is still a very young team. They have a couple guys that they recruited that are pretty good. They recruited heavily on defense, so they're set there. If they can get the offensive check, if Patterson plays, I expect this team to win 10 games. But this is definitely make or break for Harbaugh. And next year, if he's still coaching there next year, I mean, you have to get in the top 15 at least. I mean, at least you got to get in the top 15. So those are my takeaways from that. All right, so on Sunday, Michigan travels to Madison, Wisconsin to play the lowly Wisconsin team who sits at 11-15, and people expected them to be a tournament team this year. This is a must-win. If they want to stay in the rankings, this is a must-win. If they win this one, they'll probably be 24, 25, and they're playing Ohio State next weekend. That's a huge game. Looking at their projections for the tournament, ESPN, Joel Lenardi has him at a 7 right now, slotted playing Virginia Tech. And Fox, which I was very surprised with this, has them as a 5 playing Middle Tennessee. Another history of beating good teams in the first round. Fox has had them a lot lower than I thought all year, but they moved them up to 5 this week. I was very surprised, considering we really haven't beaten anybody aside from Michigan State. But, I mean, I'll take it. I think they're going to be somewhere in between. I think 5 is their ceiling. 8 is the basement for them. They'll be somewhere in between there. But this game is a good jumping point for them heading into a big week next week. Could be the deciding week of their season for how they end up heading into the tournament. All right, that's going to do it. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and we'll be back on Tuesday with another video. Go Blue.